Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Black Fly on Your Wall. I am your host, Jeskell Creecy, and I'm sure by now you guys are a little confused. So, this is the first ever episode where we have an all female cast and a female host. So, to ensure that this is not the last episode, I have some ladies that are coming with some gems for you. I will let the ladies introduce themselves. I'll start with my left.
So my name is Taylor Calamese. I am a certified personal trainer and the owner of Charlotte Fit, a gym located in Charlotte, North Carolina that caters to women.
I am Cynthia Okeke. I currently work in marketing at BET Networks, and we primarily work on Black stories, as well as for the BET Award shows and our linear shows.
I'm Essence Sylvia Smith because I do use my full government name.
Okay.
But professionally, I do executive social media at Microsoft. And then on the side, I also assist other small Black owned businesses with their social media presence as well.
The title of this week's episode is Divine Femininity. Essence, what does that phrase mean to you, or what are some characteristics of divine femininity?
Okay, so to be honest, when I was first thinking about this question, I thought that the first word that came to mind was softness. But I do feel like in this ever changing world that the words that I really want to use are innate and ubiquitous, because I feel like you can't really define what it is, because I feel like it looks different in everyone.
Yeah.
And not to be cliche, but it is an essence. So you possess it and you define your own. And I feel like if we do try to overly define it, it can be off-putting to other people, because they're like, well, I'm not really girly, or I'm not soft. So it kind of may make other people question that. But I feel like everything that you have to be feminine is already within you. You just kind of have to tap into that and find something that will allow you to release it.
Yeah, I agree. I think for a while, women, we were taught to be strong because, as I said it before, the world doesn't owe you anything. It's harsh out here in this world. And so, as a protection mechanism, our parents taught us to be strong. But I also say that to say that femininity is inside of you, right? And so you haven't lost it. It hasn't gone anywhere. And so I like what you said, you can tap into it and then make it your own. I think that was important. You want to add anything, Taylor?
I would say femininity. I would actually say it's a softness. It's a leaning into the vulnerability and the most authentic and genuine parts of you that want to be loved and want connection and look for understanding and compassion in another human being and the human experience.
Yeah.
I think it absolutely is a softness, and I think that is necessary in men and women in order to build healthy, strong connections and relationships. I think you have to have a level of emotional awareness and intelligence that leans into you offering your genuine, authentic self to another person.
Right, right. Cynthia, you got anything to add?
Yeah, I think that femininity is free flowing, just being open minded. Someone that, you're non judgmental, you're nurturing, you're caring, you're thinking of others, and you're vibrating at a space that is welcoming. You know what I mean? It just has to be an energy that, is open and mendable.
Yeah. And it's funny you say that because femininity is free flowing, it's sensual, it's creative, it's collaborative, intuitive, heart centered, wise. So I think all of those things, none of those things are rigid. And so honestly, a one pathway, one thought process is actually a masculine energy. And so yes, very much so, femininity is free flowing. So why do people misinterpret or misconstrue gender with masculine and feminine energy?
I feel like it's what we're taught. The world has kind of programmed us to think that way. Our culture has kind of programmed us to think that way. So we associate it it's this or it's that. I know even through therapy, I've realized things can be both, you know,
Yeah.
and open up your mind and
We
change
live
your
in the
perspective.
and.
But I feel like the reason why we approach it in that way is because that's like how we were taught to think that our mom was trained to like, it's that.
Right. No, I totally agree. I don't think our society teaches us that you have to be or. You
Yeah.
can't you can be happy or sad, but you
Yeah.
can't be both at the same time. And
Right.
that's not real. Like you can be happy for this, like say your friend's getting married and you want to be engaged, you want to have a partner. So you're happy for your friend, but you also can be sad for yourself because you're not in that place yet. So I agree. We live in the and so our masculine and feminine energy is like a yin and a yang. You remember when we drew those in school with the white and the black? So it's a balance. And so they're always moving inside of each other, and that's male and female.
And I think that the masculine and feminine roles are also taught at home. You know, from what I've seen from my parents, it's kind of what I feel masculine and feminine roles are. So it just depends on your environment as well. Not only what you see, but what you're seeing what you see outside, but what you're seeing at home.
Right.
So I think that plays a major role in, you know, just the gender roles in general.
Yeah.
Also, to add on to what Essence was saying, I think we operate in binary type of frameworks because it helps us understand things. And so even now in the spaces of like non-binary and all the different labels that are coming out, it keeps having to be a label so that people can understand and comprehend,
that is very
as
true.
opposed to allowing people to just be.
Yeah.
You know, and if I meet Essence, if I meet you, just like that, I allow you to be and show up however you would like to present. And I accept that, or I don't. I move around it. I engage with it, or I don't. But I think the human brain is always trying to make sense of something and like know how to move and engage in it. And so masculine to men, subscribe to men. If I meet a man, then I expect this. I know this. That's a man. You know, if I meet a woman, I expect these certain characteristics. I know this about her. I know how to engage with her in this way. And it just helps for understanding. We label everything.
Yeah.
I see you. I'm
That's
like,
very
she
true.
has blue on. That helps me understand. It helps me feel in control of my space,
That's
of
so
my
true.
surroundings. We were talking earlier about books. The Untethered Soul is like you know, when you see somebody, like that's a person, but why does your brain have to say, oh, that's a person, that's a woman, oh, she's feminine, she's soft? Like, because we're trying to control our surroundings and make sense of it constantly. And we're trying to control the chatter in our brain. And so I think we often subscribe things to understand it.
Yeah, that's actually very true. So we're all in very male-dominated industries, right? Fitness, both you ladies with marketing, myself with physical therapy. And that requires masculine energy. You have to, take charge. You have to meet deadlines, things like that. I know for me to unwind, to get away from that masculine energy or that taking up, coming to the forefront. What makes me feel really feminine is like putting on a dress, right? A dress, heels, and perfume. You're not gonna tell me anything. Like I am top femininity.
Jeskell is here.
Okay.
She is
Okay.
here.
Okay. And that's on. Mary had a little lamb. What routines or self-care practices do you guys have that get you in tune with your femininity?
Yeah, I would say prayer for me. It's like a space where I'm super vulnerable. You know what I mean? And I'm vulnerable because I feel safe.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I trust God.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that's the space that brings me back into who I am and rooted in my femininity. Travel, girl, don't let me go shopping for travel, getting my hair done, nails done, discovering certain things. I love to be able to explore. So that puts me into a space where I feel closest to myself.
Yeah.
I would say when I'm with my girls, I learn something new from them every time I'm with them.
Right.
So I think, being with my girls kind of helps me tap into my femininity a little bit. So yeah, those are some of the things.
I feel like you named a lot. Are we the same person? But I do a lot of that as well. I think the thing that may be a little unique is I live in a house of mirrors, like literally and figuratively, because I love mirrors.
Yeah.
And not in vanity, but like every time I turn around in my house, there's mirrors. But in that, I'm affirming myself. Like I battled with self-esteem so bad, but now I'm like looking at myself like, you are beautiful. You are that bitch. Like I'm telling myself like, you go girl. You killed that. So that's one way that self-care, I affirm myself.
I don't know if y'all see I think it was a reel, but like they would of course have the caption, but the words would be, "Bitch, you doing a good
Yeah.
job. You doing a good job."
Yes, yes, yes.
I gotta hit that. I gotta hit that daily.
Absolutely.
I gotta hit that daily. Ladies, so is a boss chick
Mm.
primarily masculine or feminine energy?
I'm gonna say both.
Both.
Yes.
And then okay, so first, like, what is a boss chick? Like, let's start with that. Let's define what a boss chick is, and then let's define like what energy that is.
I mean, as a true definition of a boss,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a corny term.
Right.
I think it's very corny. I think it's very it creates a space of like judgment and of separation, of elitism. I think that when you are a boss, you're doing boss things and you don't have time to talk about being a boss
Talk
in that
about
way.
it.
You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
And so like I have real boss things that have to happen every day. I don't have time to like go represent and shout to the world that I'm a boss chick.
Mhm.
And I think that oftentimes in titles and labels like that is to affirm something within yourself, and that's okay if that's like the space you're in. But I think once you evolve past that, you don't have to announce that to the world.
Yeah.
They'll see you in action being a boss.
Right. Right.
You know, and so it's like we don't ever have to walk into a space and be like, I'm a black woman, because we know that.
Mhm.
We know everybody else around us understands that. I don't ever have to speak about
Yeah.
that. But I feel like in spaces where you may not feel the most confident,
Mhm.
you affirm yourself in certain ways that until you build the space to grow confident there, or because I much like what I just said is like if you're doing it, I don't think you have to talk about it as much. But I do think the spirit of boss chick, I think it started in a great space. I think it's become like elitist, and I think even when we talk about entrepreneurship, owning a business, I think that it's become a shame around having a 9 to 5.
Yeah,
And I
it's
think
not
it's
for
very
everybody.
necessary, because
Yeah.
if you own the business and nobody works for you, what's happening?
Right.
You know, you can't move the shit forward.
Right. Right.
So I think it's important that like you remain conscious of the goal, of the purpose, and it's not to announce yourself to the world. It's to like do shit. It's to move shit.
Yeah.
Like I'm about to open a second location. Like that doesn't. I don't have to boss chick that. I'm doing it. You know. So
and you see it later. Yeah. I think you made a great point, and kind of what you were saying earlier. Like you have to have a label for something, and I think sometimes like when we are exuding an energy or doing something that is not widely accepted, we got to find our tribe, right? I got to find other boss chicks that's doing this and doing that and throwing money or whatever you associate with that stigma of boss chick, because I agree with you. I think a boss chick is somebody who is in charge. And so yeah, why can't you be of a boss chick and be feminine? Because you need the mentality of like I was saying before, like being one track. Like if you know something is due, either you got to get that done. So you might have to let some things fall by the wayside, pick them up later, prioritize things. You have to be more logical. Okay, well I know we have these numbers that we have to hit, so I can want it all I want. And I can care about it and do it. But like if I apply logic to it to get it done, okay. But at the same time, you should be soft enough to know if you do have somebody working under you, like why are they sitting in the corner today? Like what's wrong with them? Like they're usually up, they're usually bubbly. So that's the intuition part. That's the more feminine energy. And so I think it will, for male or female, if you are exuding one energy over the other, you're doing yourself a disservice, because you need all these energies to make a business run, to make something last. People leave companies because of their managers, because of their coworkers. They don't necessarily leave the structure. And so you have to create the environment for these people to thrive in.
I feel like, to answer your question too, like for society, a boss chick is perceived as masculine energy because it's like a woman who's like a go-getter. I don't need a man. You know, like it gives off that energy to the world, right? So that it's like, oh, she's aggressive, or she's too driven, or so it's like, oh, too masculine. But in reality, like you both said, like it's not that. but that's kind of how like our skewed minds are not our, but
And to piggyback off of Essence, I mean, if you let Kevin Samuels tell it, you know, boss shit
Rest in peace,
is
Kevin Samuels.
masculine, stay away, you know. But I think to your point, it is a bit about balance. But when you do look at what it takes to run a business, you have to be assertive.
Yeah.
And so that does come off as, okay, yeah, this woman is about her business. She's getting to it. So that is a masculine energy. Does that mean you're masculine? No.
Does that
but
mean
it
you're
is-
a man?
No.
you don't want a man.
That doesn't
Right.
mean you don't want a man. You have to be able to like shut it off. So say you do have a man, right? And so I'm at work, I'm getting my stuff done, I'm bossing up, I'm assertive, I told you what to do, I told you what to do, and I go home and I'm, hey babe, can you open this jar for me? Can you open this jar for me?
But like what y'all are speaking to is the duality of like a full person.
Yeah.
And I think even when choosing a mate, it's like when as running a business, I want somebody who makes me feel safe to like let it down, to be okay, like not having to make decisions. For me, it's funny because people think I would want to be in control in my personal life, and it's like it's the exact opposite. I'm exhausted all day from having to make decisions and like money decisions, you know. And so when I'm off, I don't want to make any decision, but I want to trust that the person I'm with is keeping me safe and directing me in the same way I have to like direct and guide my company. And it's like when I speak about softness and femininity, it's like a place to like be soft, to like rest, relax, like to like cuddle into and feel like hugged and feel like loved.
Absolutely.
I think in my last relationship, my partner often would be like, I want a woman, you don't need me. Or I want a woman who needs me. And I'd be like, what? I was so gaslighting. I was so confused by that, but it's not that, you know, my hungerness, my ambition, my passion, I don't feel like I need a man, right? But if you are my man, I want you. I desire you. I want to have a safe space where I can, you know, tap into my femininity, be vulnerable, be passionate. So it's like, while I might not need you financially and, you know, all this other stuff, but there's other spaces in my life that I would love for you to be there.
I mean, like we were saying with balance. And I think men too need to, so a man at work, you know, in our fields, we've seen men, we work around men in our fields, but also if they're in a leadership role or something that's very high stress or things like that, like I feel like they too need to come home, and the leadership role that you need at work does not always translate to the leadership roles that you play at home. So men need to get more in tune with their femininity. As you know, on the ride home, you can, you know, turn the music down, meditate, because like I said, like you don't want to be that boss that is at home. You don't want to be that same person to your children.
And I think this is just really such an important conversation to have just in general, because I think for such a long time, Black women have had to take on a more masculine role, because it's really hard to be soft, you know, if you're in survival mode.
If you don't feel safe.
If you don't feel safe, if you don't trust what you're around. And just, I think more Black women need to speak up and say, we want to be soft. Like, but you have to create an environment for us to be soft.
Absolutely.
Like, if I don't trust you, I can't.
You can't
let my guard down. And that's just that.
I agree. Masculine energy is your protector.
Absolutely.
It's your protector. So as a woman, like if your masculine energy is showing up, is you don't feel safe. And so I have realized, like, in my body, when I meet people, male, female, for a relationship, for business, I have to look at how I feel first. Who I am with you is more important than who you are 9 times out of 10, like every day, 10 times out of 10, all the time. And so if I feel more masculine around you, what is it about this situation that I don't feel safe? So ladies, what areas of your femininity is challenging and where do you feel like you need to improve?
Mine would definitely be softness. Because I am guarded through, you know, life is gonna life, right?
Life is gonna life.
Trauma, all of that. So mine is softness and being vulnerable, and because of things that I have experienced, like just realizing that they're not gonna occur again, or just being open, and if they do occur again, I'm strong enough to like get past it.
Yeah.
So, but boy, definitely my softness. I'm like, whoo, I don't know.
Yeah, my word for the year was, or my word to kind of like focus on for the year was control. So for me, it's like every single detail I feel like I need to be in control of, and that's super masculine, or not super masculine, but it is whenever you start strategizing and trying to control things, it does carry out a more masculine energy. And I realized that, you know, to the feminine in me wants to be more free flowing, but trying to figure out what's next in my life kind of takes over, and like making sure every detail is on point. So I'm working on not having to control everything, kind of like letting down the reins. And, you know, I gave everything over to God in the new year. So it's like making sure, you know, control is not at the forefront of my life, and just being free flowing, letting things happen as they may, and, you know, correcting as you need to go. But yeah, control has been a big factor for me. So
Right.
I struggle with vulnerability. And I've talked about this in therapy. And I know there have been times when I've discussed with my therapist just the challenges I've had with that. And he's like, you know, when you feel it, keep going. And, you know, there's always that period where like it's the precipice, like I'm either about to like cry, or I can keep going to this, or I can back. And I have a habit of withdrawing. And so my push for myself is to truly keep pushing past that point, to like allow somebody to be there for me, allow somebody to like hold my emotions, and also not have an expectation on how they're supposed to respond. Because I think oftentimes I would give people or my person like my emotions, and if they're not responding a certain way, I'm like, okay, never
You
again.
shut down.
Not again.
Yeah,
you know,
never do
like,
again.
and they
That-
don't
yeah, that's real.
they don't even realize how important that moment is. They don't
Yeah.
understand. It's big to me, but they don't get it. And so even being kind, compassionate, and giving them grace and what they need to be good to me, to like articulate like, this means a lot to me, and I need you to listen. I need to feel heard in this moment.
Yeah.
Because I think oftentimes we punish people and we haven't given them what they need to be good to us.
Yeah.
And they could have had long-term relationships. They have their own stuff, and it's that you're a new person that they're dealing with in whatever way. This is a new situation, and it's like, let me give you the tools that I need to keep being vulnerable with you, to keep feeling safe. And so it's like, it's a joint effort of the masculine, the feminine, the duality, the conversation that has to be had, that like, you don't understand how big this is to me. And so let me give that to you, so that then if you love, like, and respect me, you will give me what I need in that moment.
And that's a good way to even decide, like, is this person even in the space? Like you said, so I come to you, I tell you what I need, and you're not used to that. Like, you're used to, like, and masculine energy is everybody's protector, not just mine, not just women, it's men's protector too, right? So to get in that space with you and have to let down his guard, like a good way for men too is just to listen, like fix masculine energy, and just to get in that space and say, hey babe, I just need you to listen. And I just need you, I don't need you to fix anything, I just need to hear everything you have to say. And so he has to then tap into his feminine energy and be a listener and not a fixer and a doer is hard. And so, like you said, you have to be compassionate. You have to give them time. But if they are showing the effort, they're showing you like, hey, all right, this hard, this don't feel good, but I'm gonna try. I'm gonna go to that place with you. That's how you know that that's somebody that you can spend more time with, that you can grow more with.
And I think in the same, you have to give people a chance to like not get it. You're right.
Yo.
You know, and I think a big part of femininity is like understanding, compassion, empathy.
Yeah.
That
absolutely.
like, that I think
Forgiveness.
because we've been through so much sometimes, we're so quick to take it away.
Yeah, we tired.
And they like people,
We tired.
you know what I mean? And I think what I've learned even in my relationship is that this person loves, likes, and respects me. And I always try and come back to that. And that if they're not doing something how I think they should, if they're not responding, if my feelings are hurt, like I have to come back to like, maybe I didn't communicate something well, maybe they don't understand, because it's like they love, like, and respect me. And that's like the foundation that I keep coming back to, because it's important. If you like somebody, you're not going to try and hurt them.
Yeah.
If you love them, you're going to try and do what's best for them. If you respect them, you will be considerate of things that affect them. And if they're not doing that, then what do I need to communicate to you to like get that, understand that? Where do maybe your trauma, your stuff won't allow us to like like, let's talk about it.
Yeah,
good.
absolutely,
You know?
absolutely.
Jeskell, you said
absolutely.
we're tired, and I really feel like it's crazy because as women, you know, we get to the space where we can be vulnerable, we can be soft, we can, you know, be confident, and we allow somebody in, and then as especially Black women, like you get hurt, right? But we continue to have to like pick ourselves up, start on over. You know?
Absolutely.
Whereas if a man gets
Absolutely.
hurt, like that's why I don't talk to women no more.
In
We're
eighth grade.
immature
They know
men.
Break up with
their
somebody
they
in
know
the
their
eighth
fourth grade
grade.
heartbreak.
Oh, yeah,
They know, and they like it happened in fourth grade. Never again.
Never again.
A girl will
I ain't
never
trusting
break my
that.
heart.
Yeah,
Like,
women
what?
ain't
Like,
nothing,
y'all,
man.
you need to work on that. Go talk to
Right.
somebody.
Who hurt you?
It be deep.
You don't need to
It
be
be
on the
deep.
podcast. You
It
need
be
a
real
therapist.
deep. But I think in that, like, I think even in femininity, there's a resilience. You know, like because like
I
you said, there
agree.
is a level of it's beautiful the level of resilience that I think women have, and I think that when you're partnered right, you bring that to the relationship, and men feed off that as well.
Right.
And I think that like if a man is being his best self, you automatically are in a feminine space.
Oh, absolutely,
You know?
absolutely.
I think that it's important to, because we talk a lot about, you know, do we want to submit to a certain type of man? And I think that it's important that we are submitting to men who have certain type of values and can lead. So
Absolutely.
for me, it's like I want to submit to a man that is submitted to God.
Yes.
Because you have a principle to work off,
Right.
you have a grounding foundation, and I think that so often men don't understand where we come from when we say that.
Yes.
We don't want to be led in the wrong direction, and we don't want to trust the wrong person. We can't feel safe if there is no trust there. So I think it's important to have that dialogue of what does it look like to trust a man or to be led by a man, and what are some of the
Absolutely.
qualities that, you know, we look for in men to lead us.
And you have to stand on it. Like if he might be cute, you know what I'm saying?
That's
he might
important.
be tall. He might
That's
have a
important.
big car.
I'm not
you
even
have
gonna
to-
play.
You
that's
have
important.
to stand on it. And
That's
if this man
important to me.
isn't showing, if it man isn't
Attraction.
showing, then you gotta go. Like you gotta love yourself enough to go. I think to me, submissiveness is natural. Like you
Yes,
said, like
I
you
agree.
meet this man and he is at his highest vibration, or he's vibrating on a higher level, you automatically get into your femininity.
100%.
Yes.
The most the simplest example of submissiveness that I have is me and Aaron's relationship with Black Fly on the Wall. Like strictly platonic. Me and his wife his fiance, love each other. Like, you know, I respect her, she respects me. But number one, Aaron is submitting to Black Fly on the Wall. So Aaron is a leader. He is submitting to something already. So therefore, he is showing me by example how to submit to something. So Black Fly has a box. And inside of that box, there's things that we do and there's things that we don't do. And we stick to that, and that is it. And so therefore, I am able to, I feel comfortable. I feel safe. I know what we can and what we can't do. A man that is all over the place is just like, yesterday this was okay, today it's not. Yesterday we was working out, next week we eating junk food. Like, what are we doing? What's going on here? And so, and also Aaron submits to me, right? Like for example, the set, like this is me. This is what I do, and Aaron's only suggesting it's a plant. Like if you ever see something green on a Black Fly set, just know that this man will let me pick everything else.
Except
And
the
so
plant.
the least that I can do is give him a plant somewhere,
absolutely.
somehow. And so, but again, that's balance, that's give, that's take, that is compromise and things like that. So it's not just it's never, oh, I'm Aaron and this is mine and it's never been that. It's always been, okay, well, and that's anybody that comes in. It's like as soon as you come to the door, the ego's aside. Doesn't matter what you do, how you do it, where you do it, because everybody's ideas are welcome. And so when me and Aaron have meeting of the minds, like if he doesn't take my idea, I know it's because at the end of the day, he has the vision for Black Fly on the Wall. So if he doesn't take my idea, it's because it didn't fit to the vision. It's not because I'm a bad person. It's not because I didn't have a good idea. And then also he has taken my ideas. So it's like I understand that if this is one section that he does not, then it's okay because he has the overall vision, which is somebody that I can submit to because overall there is a parameter that he has set for this business.
So question with that.
Yeah.
Did it start off like that? Was it he was already leading by example and you felt okay stepping into that? Like, how was that established? Was it a level of your personal growth? Like, how did that get established?
Yeah, I think it was both of us, personal growth. You're ever evolving, right? So I do think there is some ego coming in. Like I'm coming in, like I know what I'm doing, and he comes in, I already know what's done. Right? So we gotta meet somewhere in the middle. Like we gotta figure it out. And so we did. We had a conversation, and I'm like, hey, this is what I need from you. Okay, well, this is what I need from you. And now it's to the point where, like, I know there was a very popular like podcast, and they had a clip, and the clip went around all social media, and it's like I figure out what he needs before he needs him. But I don't know, I felt bad for women because I felt like I didn't think that was a good example of like I said, submissiveness is natural, right? So like, for example, like I know what he needs before he needs, like this that our iPad is sitting on. Like I know, okay, Aaron needs a place for his iPad, right? It's not similar to our set before, so he needs a place for an iPad. It's already here. When he sets in, sometimes he calls me and say, "Can you do this or that?" And I say, "I already did it." You know what I'm saying? One, get out my face. Like, I got other things to do, but it's like it's because we have studied each other so much, because we know each other so well that it's almost running on autopilot at the moment.
And you allow space for that, yeah.
Right.
I think you said something so important though. Like, there's a vision in place. It cannot be the blind leading the blind.
Oh, girl.
Where are you taking me?
Girl.
Do you have a plan? Where we going?
On?
You know what I mean? And I think it's lost on so many men that, like, you got to have some goals and a vision. I can't just follow you. And like you said, you sporadic, you're all over the place. Then I don't have trust.
Right.
It goes back to that. Now I don't feel safe.
Right.
Now I can't submit. So it's just,
and here comes my masculine energy.
Because now I gotta save the day. So it's like,
I have to save the day. I have to save the day.
What we're saying in all of this is the masculine energy is a sign that you as a man are not showing up in a way that makes me feel safe.
Yes.
This is not my natural disposition. I am out of order. We both understand I'm out of order, but you are not doing what you need to do as a man, as your personal self, to make me get back in order.
Right.
I will naturally fall in order if you do what the fuck you need to do.
Naturally.
But not to play the devil's advocate, but also for like men, when they do tap into their feminine, energy, and they are soft, and they, sometimes they get that like, why are you so soft? Why are you so emotional?
balance.
Okay,
Yeah,
yes,
balance
it out.
But even if somebody is not used to doing that, and even if it's, of course, initially it might be a little over the top, but then they do that, and then they're perceived with that, then it's going to also get them to shut down too.
Right. And I would tell that man, well, one, you give that person grace. You figure out like where they are, why did they have that comment. You work with them, but if they do not work with you, if they do not figure out, if they keep gaslighting you, then you have to go. You have to find your tribe. Stop trying to make people who are not your people your people. Like, you're spending so much time and so much energy on this thing, and it's not working. And same with if a man takes you out of your feminine energy, you talk to him, you have a conversation, you figure out, okay, where do we go wrong? And he still isn't putting you back in your feminine energy, you gotta go.
Jeskell preaching, y'all.
Okay, I'm just saying, like, because then we take these traumas to the next relationship, ruin a person. They take it to the person, ruin a person, things like that. So, ladies, just to bring this full circle, to give the listeners something to take home with, are there any celebrities? Are there any podcasts? Are there any books or anybody that you listen to that that you find feminine, that you learn from through their actions? Because I think it is an action thing about their femininity, or even, examples of things, I want to tap into my femininity. I don't know where to start. Help me out. Like, any tips, anything like that?
Well, I don't think I've read a book directly or like podcast specifically for that, but I have read books that help you just work on like who you are as a person, and like I said earlier, when it's like innate and it'll just evolve and come out. So one book is Black Girl in Love with Herself. So like falling in love with yourself, becoming who yourself, like letting your mess be your message, just putting that out there. And then also it's a book called The Inner Book, something about inner fitness, but basically, again, working on who you are, aligning who you are so that it projects, and you're just releasing all that feminine energy.
Yeah.
I would say, just from a male and a female perspective, from the woman's side, I would say Queen Afua. She has a book called Sacred Woman. I think that
Absolutely.
she gets to the core of what it means to be in your divine femininity.
Absolutely.
And then Stephen Speaks. I think that he's incredible. I watched some of his stuff on YouTube where he lists out, what femininity looks like from a man's perspective. He talks about things like gratitude, appreciation, being a free-flowing spirit. So I think that those are the two people that I kind of like look to when it comes to like, where I could get some resources for femininity.
Absolutely.
So the book I think about is Women Who Run with Wolves. It's a book of like different lessons and parables of just the seasons of a woman, the evolving or the evolution of a woman, and how like every season is very specific, but just growing you as a woman, but also a resilient, feminine, powerful woman. So Women Who Run with Wolves is excellent. And then when I think about the epitome of somebody who like exudes, I don't know, my role model, like excellence, femininity, Myleik Till, I love her, the owner of Curlbox. I think she has done a phenomenal job of illustrating her transition from survival mode to like this beautiful space of femininity, of motherhood, of like being a great partner, understanding what it means to be loved. Like she grew up in Compton, and so all she knew was survival for the longest. And like when I look to who I will be in the future and like the skills, the way I will enter a room and how I'll impact people around me, it would look like Myleik Till.
So, ladies, thank you all for a very fruitful conversation. I hope we walked away for a different understanding from each other. I hope the audience gets a different understanding. Thank you so much for watching. This is Divine Femininity.
That was good.
Yay! Good job.
I am proud.
Think that I want this, I like this, no, I love this. The feeling, I'm lovesick, can't help this, so selfish. You make me weak, oh yeah, yeah. Any day of the week, oh yeah, yeah. Heartbeat on repeat, oh yeah. Goes on and on and on and on. You make me weak, oh yeah, yeah. Any day of the week, oh yeah, yeah.